Hi everyone, this is a short training video. I have difficulty in getting around to show everybody the tools that we create in Chart. So I thought I'd create a video so that I can get you all at once. So this is an emotional management diary, and the purpose of this is to help a client increase their emotional literacy, to assess their actions and the consequences that come from their actions, and to generate alternative responses to situations. So the idea is, if somebody does this enough, they can start to interrupt their normal pattern of behaviour and create change. So let's get started. I'll go through each of the sections just briefly before going through an example. The client can choose between a situation that has made them feel bad or a situation that makes them feel good. This is just where we put the feelings, a thought bubble for what was going through my head. How was your body feeling? You can also draw that on the body as well. And then we have little footsteps leading in two different ways. So if you're going this way, this is what you did do and the consequences of what you did. And then down the bottom here is what you could have done instead. And then obviously thinking about the consequences of what that might have been. This last box here is what should I do next? So that's where we kind of develop strategies, or maybe the client needs to do some more mindfulness or whatever it may be. That's where we discuss that. Okay, so now I'm going to take you through an example. Okay, so here we have the first page. So the client might want to talk about either something not so great that's happened in the past or something good. The clients actually use this tool with me personally to discuss how he is feeling on that particular day. So it can also become a communication tool for him potentially. So if the client chooses that they want to talk about something positive that's happened, he will point to the green, and then we just make notes about what the situation is. So this page is always just about the situation. So that includes thoughts, feelings, body feelings. So let's do an example. So what was making me feel good today? So I asked the client, and I might have to give some suggestions of why they might be feeling good. But let's say the client has had a good breakfast, and going to work on his bike. Going to work on bike. So then I'd ask, oh yeah, so how does that make you feel? What are you feeling? And obviously he'll come up with a word. It might be cool, it might be happy, and then I draw a face. So that's where I really put the emotion. And I always try to do a pretty good job at capturing the face, because that is important to the client. His teeth are a bit crazy, that's okay. Okay, so some eyebrows that make him looks a bit not happy, but that's okay, it's just an example. So I think, what was on my mind? Oh, looking forward to doing your bike. Okay, looking forward to bike. And obviously he cannot read, so I would be inclined to just put in a little bit of a picture of what a bike might look like so that he understands. Now, if you are talking about something positive with the client, this is the only part that you need to do. Oh, how my body was feeling. We want to get him to recognize that his body was relaxed. Sorry about that. Okay. So, so if you were doing something positive, you would just do this situation, you would do what was on my mind, you would do the emotion and how the body is feeling, but then you wouldn't worry about the rest of it, which looks like this. It's just not necessary to do. Okay, if we are doing something that has happened in the past that's not so great, we would do the red. So again, we would talk about how he was feeling, probably angry. And maybe his body was feeling really tense. What was on his mind? An example recently was not allowed to do my bike. And maybe something was on his mind like, I'll hurt those guys. I'll hurt those staff. So I would always put the date here as well, because then if there's a BR, people can have a look at the BR and kind of the client's response to it. So today's date would be, or I would write the date that the actual incident happened if the client was reflecting on what had already happened. So let's say this happened on the 26th of the 4th, 20. And as you talk to the client, you'll fill out bits and pieces as you go. According to what they say. You might say, I was really feeling tense, or I was feeling angry, and they said they'd help. Would help, but didn't. It's just an example. And then I always encourage further thinking around, oh, were you hungry or were you tired? Was that contributing to the situation? So this is all the situation, the feelings, the thoughts, the body, what was happening. That's all what was going on. And then if it is something that's a bad situation or something that's negative, then you would go on to use this second part here. So after you've developed the situation, you would then go on to talk to the client about what they did. So, and this is the choice point. This was the moment. Despite the situation, they made a choice to do whatever. Let's say that they tried to hurt someone. And then we'd think about what's the consequence for that. So the consequence for the client, maybe they feel bad, maybe they can't do something because they tried to hurt someone, so they didn't actually get access to the thing that they wanted in the first place. But also it's really important to touch on the consequence for the other people. Were they scared? Might they feel a bit weird? Then it's about, what should I do next? Do I need to, apologize for those people? Maybe I need to make sure that I'm doing a bit more breathing or some more mindfulness, or ask for help. But then also this is the alternative behavior. So sometimes the client struggles with this. What could they have done instead? So sometimes that's like walking away, slamming the door, whatever it is. Really try to get the client to have a think about what they could have done, and have discussions around, what stopped them from doing that and how could they do better next time. And then again, what would the consequences of that be? So the consequences of that would obviously be better, and they probably would have access to what they wanted to sooner. So yeah, I think that you'll find it a good tool to use. So I'm just going to briefly show you then how that is captured in the IDP implementation section of the client's book. Okay, so this is taken from the client's implementation section of the clinical notes and observation book. So the work that we've been doing refers to this part. So the goal is actually to work on the emotional management diary 3 times a week. So I'm happy to be doing most of that, but it's just a skill that would be really good for staff to be able to pick up on and help him communicate his feelings. So you would just go through and pay attention as you're working with him. It's got the elements of the chain analysis, which is essentially, the work that we do here. This is all chain analysis stuff. So the situation, that specifically refers to one of these 2 bits. Could describe without significant support, could describe some elements, could generate responses with minimal assistance. So then you just kind of choose one of those and go, okay, so could describe some elements, and then the same for the rest of it. Could he identify feelings, which is the next one? Let's just say he's pretty good at that. His body experience, so maybe could not do that. Thoughts, which is, up here. Consequences of actions, which is this bit here, which is really important for the client to understand. And the alternative behaviour is this one. And the consequences of the alternative behaviour is here. So it's all pretty straightforward once you've done it a couple of times, or maybe watch the video a couple of times, if you can stand it. And yeah, so when you end up doing the weekly summary, there is a version of this, and all you would do would just be to tally them. So say if there's 2 of those, you'd put 2 there, you'd put another one there, or you might say there, and then I can collate that information ready for the next individual development plan meeting. So the idea is to increase his ability to talk about his feelings, his thoughts, his body experience, and determine actions. And then we can get him to stop and think a little bit first. So the more we reflect on our behaviour, the better our behaviour can become, hopefully. Awesome. Thank you for watching, everybody. I'd love your feedback.